Hey, magandang buhay! So for this video, I'm going to discuss two SMO-like problem that involves trigonometry. So SMO stands for Singapore Math Olympiad. So the questions that will be discussed here are patterned to the questions under SMO 2020. Okay? So the first question will be, what is the value of 21 tangent x plus 21 over tangent x if 5 sine x minus 5 cosine x is equivalent to 2. And the second question will be, without using a calculator, determine the value of 5 cosine 52 degrees over sine 84 degrees minus 15 sine 54 degrees over the square root of 3 sine 264 degrees. Okay, so let us start with the first one. So again, let me read the question. What is the value of 21 tangent x plus 21 over tangent x if 5 sine x minus 5 cosine x is equal to 2. So the first thing to do here is that I'm going to express this one, 21 tangent x plus 21 over tangent x, in terms of sine and cosine only. So what am I going to do here is that I'm going to factor out 21, since 21 is their common factor. Next, the one inside the parenthesis, tangent x plus 1 over tangent x, that can be simplified into tangent squared x plus 1 all over tangent x. And applying the Pythagorean identity, tangent squared x plus 1 is actually equivalent to secant squared x. Now, we're going to express secant squared x over tangent x in terms of sine and cosine. Now, secant squared x, applying the reciprocal identity, that is equivalent to 1 over cosine squared x. While tangent x, applying the quotient identity, that will be equivalent to sine x over cosine x, as you can see on our screen. Now, we have here a complex fraction. Now, personally, when I encounter complex fraction, I express that complex fraction into a division sentence. So the one inside the parenthesis, that will become 1 over cosine squared x divided by sine x over cosine x. And then, since we are dividing fraction by fraction, what we're going to do here is that we're going to reciprocate the divisor or the second fraction and then proceed to multiplication. And operating the one inside the parenthesis, that will become 1 over cosine x times sine x, as you can see on our screen. Therefore, the value of 21 tangent x plus 21 over tangent x is actually 21 over cosine x times sine x. Now, let us now manipulate this one. 5 sine x minus 5 cosine x is equal to 2. So our goal here is to achieve this expression. Now, focusing on this one, what we're going to do here is to factor out 5, since 5 is the common factor of the expression on the left side of the equation. So next thing to do here is to divide both sides of the equation by 5. So we now have sine x minus cosine x is equal to 2/5. Now, the next thing to do here is to square both sides of the equation. So if we square both sides of the equation, we will achieve a identity. The one on the left side, it will become sine squared x minus 2 cosine x sine x plus cosine squared x, while the one on the right side, that will be 4 over 25. Notice that sine squared x plus cosine squared x is actually an identity. So to be specific, the Pythagorean identity, and sine squared x plus cosine squared x is actually equivalent to 1. So we can substitute that one, the one that is being boxed by an orange line. So we can change that one into 1. So we will now have 1 minus cosine 2 cosine x sine x is now equal to 4 over 25. Now, what we're going to do here is to isolate 2 sine x cosine x. So in that case, what we're going to do here is we're going to add negative 4 over 25 on both sides of the equation. At the same time, we will add 2 sine x cosine x on both sides of the equation. And after doing that one, we will achieve 1 minus 4 over 25 is equivalent to 2 sine x cosine x. 1 here can be written as 25 over 25. And 25 over 25 minus 4 over 25, that will be 21 over 25. Now, as you can see here, we already achieved 21. That 21 is actually on the left side of the equation. And then sine x cosine x, or cosine x sine x, is actually on the right side of the equation. So what we're going to do here is to first isolate 21. So to achieve that one, we need to multiply both sides of the equation by 25. So we will have here 21 is equivalent to 50 sine x cosine x. So in this case, what we're going to do is, again, our goal is to achieve this one. So for us to achieve this one, we will just simply divide both sides of the equation by sine x cosine x. And therefore, 21 over sine x cosine x is actually equivalent to 50. So therefore, the value of 21 tangent x plus 21 over tangent x is equivalent to 50. The second one is, without using a calculator, determine the value of 5 cosine 54 degrees over sine 84 degrees minus 15 sine 54 degrees over square root of 3 sine 264 degrees. So, based on the given measurement, the degree measures, the three of them actually lies on the first quadrant, while the fourth one, the 264, is not located on the first quadrant. That is actually located on the third quadrant. So what am I going to do is to convert sine 264. When I say convert, I'm going to find an equivalent value of sine 264 wherein the angle is in the first quadrant. So for me to do that one, I'm going to get the reference angle of 264. And the reference angle of 264 can be achieved by doing the subtraction sentence as you can see on our screen. 264 degrees minus 180 degrees, and that will be equivalent to 84 degrees. Notice this one, that sine 264 degrees is actually equivalent to negative of sine 84 degrees. Okay? So, what will happen here is that I'm going to change sine 264 degrees by negative sine 84 degrees. As you can see on our screen. So, simplifying the denominator, this denominator, what we will have here is that this one. And then, simplifying the whole expression, this will become positive simply because if we simplify this one, we will multiply negative and negative. So, that is, this will be now a positive or a plus sign. Now, let us proceed. So, what am I going to do next here is to rationalize 15 over square root of 3. Okay, so rationalizing that one, we're going to multiply square root of 3 over square root of 3 on that fraction, and doing that, we will get 15 square root of 3 over 3. Simplifying that one, we will get 5 square root of 3 over 1. Therefore, what am I going to do here is that I'm going to substitute 15 over square root of 3 by 5 square root of 3 over 1. Okay, so it will become like this, as you can see on our screen. The next thing to do here is to factor out their common factor. And their common factor is actually 5 over sine 84 degrees. You will notice that 84 and 54 are somehow related. And we can rewrite 84 by 30 plus 54. Okay? So we need to rewrite 84 by 30 plus 54 simply because 30 is a special angle. And aside from that one, we have 54 degrees here. So you will see the reason why I wrote 84 as 30 plus 54. Applying the sum and difference formulas, sine 30 degrees plus 54 degrees is actually equivalent to sine 30 degrees times cosine 54 degrees plus cosine 30 degrees times sine 54 degrees. Now, simplifying this one, sine 30 degrees, this is actually equivalent to 1/2, while cosine 30 degrees is actually equivalent to square root of 3 over 2. Now, focusing on our denominator, we can factor out 1/2 here. So our denominator will become 1/2 times the quantity of cosine 54 degrees plus the square root of 3 sine 54 degrees. And it is very obvious that you can cancel out cosine 54 degrees plus square root of 3 sine 54 degrees. So in this case, we now have 5 over 1/2, and simplifying 5 over 1/2 will give us 10. So therefore, the value of 5 cosine 54 degrees over sine 84 degrees minus 15 sine 54 degrees over the square root of 3 sine 264 degrees is actually 10. Okay? So practice and study your identities, what do you call this? The quotient identities, Pythagorean identities, reciprocal identities, the sum and difference formulas. Okay? And with that, okay, maraming salamat sa pagkikinig and magandang buhay.